It's account review time! Hey everyone, Shark here, and we got some overwhelmingly positive responses for account reviews. There are literally hundreds of submissions and it will take me a really long time to get through them all, so please be patient. In the meantime, make sure to watch these videos because even if it takes a while for me to get to your specific account, the information here is still valuable to understanding how to build characters and how to put a team together. And obviously, since there are a ton of accounts to review, you can check the other account review videos that I'll have in a special playlist for an even better understanding of how to build characters, teams, and progress your account. With all that being said, it is a lot of work to review literally hundreds of accounts, so if you could like the video, it would really mean a lot to me. It takes hours and hours of work for me, but all I need is a quick tap of that thumbs up button from you. And now that you've liked the video, let's jump into the account reviews. Hey everyone, real quick before we begin, as you might see at the top, we have over 1,017 responses, which is really cool. But these account review submissions are growing faster than I can keep up with them, so if you can think of a way for me to get through more of these, or to find a way that's maybe more helpful for you all, please leave them in the comments below, because I want to make sure that these account reviews are helpful. We do see a lot of the same characters, and we get a lot of the same builds, so maybe if we do something like a raffle system, or if I go through the account requests and look for specific characters or whatnot, maybe that would be more helpful. If you have certain ideas on what would be more beneficial for you all, please let me know, because with how long it takes to do an account review on average, I will never be able to finish all of these. So we're definitely going to have to make some adjustments, but for right now, let's get into the reviews. Alright, let's see who we got next. Oh, no one to showcase? Well, I guess we'll have to skip them. Alright, let's paste this UID in here. And, oh, Yelan. Nice. Just Yelan, huh? Well, she looks like she's pretty good. If she's your pride and joy, she looks really, really nice. There are a couple things I would say to improve that should be fairly easy. At first glance, you might think she's done, but there are a couple things I would suggest doing. First of all, I would get her skill and burst up. I would get them at least to level 8. You don't need to level her normal attacks at all, unless you want the breakthrough barb damage to be increased, but that's not really worth it. The first of which is getting her weapon up to level 90. And this isn't super necessary for Yelan. Basically, the only thing you really get out of it is an extra 6% energy recharge. The base attack doesn't really matter, but since you already have almost 200, I think maybe just getting the extra 6 would be fine, but I wouldn't put this as a huge priority. The other thing that is probably a bit easier to do though is to replace her HP sands. Because this is an off piece, you can use anything, so if you get a really good HP sands, which is more likely than a bunch of other things because you've got a lot higher chance of getting an HP main stat, if you get something with double crit, energy recharge, something like that, I would put that on her here since it's the off piece. If you do those things, you can push Yelan a little bit higher. I mean, her ratios are obviously really good. She's got over 30,000 health, 60 crit rate, 111 crit damage, almost 200% energy recharge, and hydro damage bonus. She's already pretty much done, but if you do those few improvements, you can make her even better. Alright, let's keep moving along and find the next person. And here we go, paste this in, and we've got... oh look, more hydro! Alright, let's take a look at this Yelan. These look pretty good. HP, energy recharge. Hydro looks nice with lots of HP, that's nice too. Okay, so a couple things here. I would give her a crit rate headpiece. You'll lose about 60% crit damage here, but this at 29 doesn't feel so good. I would much rather have this be about 60% and this to be about 100% than 30 and 160. So getting that more in line is a much better ratio. Typically you want a 1 to 2 crit rate to crit damage ratio, but you want your crit rate usually over 50%. So you want usually at a minimum like 50-100, unless you're running a character who has Blizzard Strayer or something like that, and they can run really low crit rate and really high crit damage. Beyond that, I think the next thing that I would do would just get her skill and burst up to level 8, and then get her to level 90. Because she is an HP scaling character, she does actually appreciate being level 90, and if you stop at 80 or 80 Ascended, like with most characters, you actually miss out on quite a bit of damage that she could be doing. Another level 80 weapon. I'm just curious because I've seen a lot of people that just get their weapon to 80 and don't go all the way to 90. Are there people recommending getting your weapons to 80 and not going to 90? It does take a lot more resources, but it's much more worth it to take a weapon to 90 than it is a character, at least in most cases. At least with Yelan though, the weapon level doesn't really matter that much. You're basically leveling this up for the extra energy recharge. So beyond that quick recap, emblem crit headpiece, level up your skill and burst a little more, and take Yelan to 90, and then you'll be finished. Now let's move on to Yelan Jr. Xingqiu. You know what I just noticed is that you're adventuring 49 and you need to be 50 in order to ascend these characters to 90. So you're not quite there yet, but what I would do is I would still farm the bosses ahead of time. That way once you reach adventuring 50, you can automatically ascend your characters. And then you can take Yelan all the way to level 90. But just keep in mind she's going to need 20 of the respective boss materials, so she needs 20 of the Ruin Onyx that's in the chasm, and Xingqiu needs 20 boss materials from the Oceanid. But now that we've talked about that, let's look at Xingqiu a little more in depth. His crit rate is a little low, his crit damage is nice, his talents need some level ups. Sword level 70, I would definitely take this as high as you can. And while it's not super important to get Yelan's Favonius Warbow to level 90, it is a lot more important to get Xingqiu's Favonius Sword to level 90. He actually does care about the base attack, and the Favonius Sword is a fairly low base attack, so you do want this leveled up, and the energy recharge is also quite nice. Beyond that, I would either try to get a crit rate headpiece, particularly on the Emblem domain, or a crit rate headpiece from the Shiminawa set. Emblem might be a little more comfortable for you because Xingqiu is very energy hungry, but seeing as you already have a Shiminawa piece here, if you gave him another Shiminawa piece, it would give him more attack percent, which is always nice. Because you really do want a higher crit rate, especially using a Favonius for Xingqiu. And you should also definitely level his talents. His skill and burst are both very important. I would definitely take these to 8. And that's pretty much it. So let me give you a plan to help level up these characters and build your account. It'll take about 2 days worth of resin on average to ascend a character to their final ascension, which is 80 plus. Because you'll be getting 2 to 3 boss drops every time you defeat a boss, so it will take at a minimum 7, at a maximum 10. So I'd plan for about 8 to 10 boss runs to get enough boss materials for your final ascension. Now that doesn't consider the 6 gemstones you need, and those are an absolute pain. And then the monster materials you can just farm in the overworld. And since Xingqiu is an easier character to build for you right now because his talents are a little bit lower, I would focus on him first. I would stay in the domain for Favonius and get enough talent materials so you can get the sword up to level 90. Even if you can't fully ascend it right away, at least you'll have the materials for it, and then you can get the other materials you need, and as you ascend your world level, you can level it up to 90 a little bit later. Not only does that include the weapon ascension materials, but it also includes things like ore and the monster materials you need to ascend the weapon. Now the weapon domains are only open 3 days a week, and in between doing those weapon domains, I would make sure to do the talent domains for Xingqiu. He needs gold, I believe, and I think those are available on Wednesdays and Saturdays. If it turns out that the weapon material for Favonius and for the talents is the same day, prioritize the talents first, then do the weapons. Then for the days where you're not farming for Xingqiu, I would do bosses for Yelan to have enough materials to ascend her. And then after that, you can either do Oceanid for Xingqiu's ascensions, and you may need some of the Hydro gemstones anyways. But if you don't do that, then I would farm more Emblem for both Yelan and Xingqiu, and Emblem and Shiminawa are just good artifacts to have in general. So take note of that plan, remember that there's certain days where you want to farm certain things, and then between those you can farm things that are available all the time like bosses and artifacts. And with that, let's move on to another account. You want to use a reverse melt team and don't want to use catalyst users. Okay, let's see what we've got here then. Since you want to focus on a reverse melt team, I'll talk a little bit about that. I actually have a full video on how to use a 4-star reverse melt team that's really strong. I'll make sure to put that in a card at the top of the screen here so that you can click on that and see that video. And that's going to be a really good resource for you because it goes over all you need, all the builds, the rotations, basically everything you need to do. But I'll give you a quick summary here. The team is basically Bennett, Xiangling, Rosaria, and Kaya, characters you already have. Emblem is basically nice for all the characters, so I would use Emblem Rosaria. You can use Lava Walkers, which is actually really good, but farming Lava Walkers is awful, so I don't really recommend that. Emblem is obviously very good on Xiangling. And then you can build a standard Bennett with Noblesse, or you could even give him just a 2-piece, just get the stats where you want. Even Instructors can be really good on him, and you can build Kaya with Noblesse if you go Instructors Bennett. Kaya is also really flexible artifact-wise. You could go 2-piece Blizzard Strayer with 2-piece Noblesse. You could go 2-piece attack, 2-piece Noblesse. It's really about the overall substats and damaging support capabilities for Kaya. He doesn't need anything particular. You don't need Blizzard Strayer in this set because you're not hitting enemies that are frozen. The extra crit rate against enemies affected by cryo can be nice, but there are better options for you. The other advantage is you really only have to spend time in the emblem domain and don't have to go to the Blizzard Strayer domain as well. As far as for weapons, I would swap the Favonius Lance and the Dragon's Bane between Rosaria and Xiangling. Rosaria is actually the one triggering most of the reactions, and because of that, giving her the Dragon's Bane is really nice. Not only will she be hitting tons of enemies affected by Pyro, but the EM also is going to make the melts hit way harder. Xiangling also really appreciates the extra energy recharge from having a Favonius Lance because even with a character like Bennett to battery her, she's still very energy hungry. So again, for a more detailed breakdown of every character, the rotations, all of that, go check out the video that I have on the Reverse Melt team. But in the meantime, get your weapons to level 90, level up your talents, especially the skills and burst of the characters. Those are the most important in this team since it is a quick swap team. And after that, farm the emblem domain to upgrade your artifacts. Now let's talk about your other potential team. Since you're not using Xingqiu anywhere, I would actually put him in here. You lose a healer slot with Raiden, but it may be worth it. If we take a look at Xingqiu here, we can see he's C2 Fav, his energy recharge isn't very high. He definitely needs some artifact help, energy recharge sands, hydro damage goblet, crit headpiece is fine too. And I also highly recommend running him on 4-piece emblem. Jean's heals can be nice, but at the end of the day, if you're trying to do the abyss, you need to go for damage, so I would actually swap Jean and Xingqiu. Raiden has like hyper body uber resistance when she's in her burst, so you still take damage, but you're not going to get knocked around all over the place. If you end up running Raiden, Yelan, Xingqiu, and Dendro Traveler, you can get a pretty powerful team going, though I would like to have another Dendro character, particularly a healer or shielder or other utility support instead of Xingqiu. For a team like this, I would do 4-piece Deepwood on the Dendro Traveler, I would run an energy recharge sands, Dendro damage goblet is good, and you can do your EM goblet is actually very nice. So you can keep your EM, or you can do crit rate or crit damage, but this is pretty nice. I don't think I'd replace that. For Xingqiu, same build, 4-piece emblem like always, hydro damage goblet, energy recharge sands, crit rate or crit damage headpiece. Now for Raiden, you can either keep her the same or try to keep running the 2-piece Wanderer's Troop, 2-piece emblem. I think you go 4-piece on emblem, but if you want to do this just for the extra EM, that's okay. However, if you're going to try to keep the 2-piece, I would give her an EM sands rather than an attack sands. You'll be causing a lot of elemental reactions in this team, and while your EM is about 200, if you added 187 more, that would be a lot more beneficial than adding a little bit of attack. Now let's take a look at Yelan. Aqua Simulacra, okay. Emblem Noblesse is fine on her, but you do need some more energy recharge. You definitely do not need an attack percent goblet. Go for a hydro damage goblet here and try to get her energy recharge to about 200%. I guess if you're running her with Xingqiu, they can battery each other, so that's not such a big deal. In fact, that may help your rotational issues, which I'm sure you probably have here and there, because I don't think Raiden can charge up enough of Yelan on her own, unless you're beating enemies really fast. Because this attack goblet does nothing for Yelan, if you do get a good hydro damage goblet or even a good HP percent goblet for the time being, you'll see Yelan's numbers go way up. And for a really good upgrade to this team, if you get a good on-field Dendro character like Alhaitham or any other potential Dendro on-field DPS they come out with, or if you get a really good Dendro support like Nahida, just turn Raiden into full EM, drop Xingqiu, put in your new Dendro character, and you'll be flying, because that is a really strong team. Alright, that was several account reviews we finished. A couple were pretty short, but I hope the resin planning farming method for the Xingqiu Yelan account was helpful for some people. This is how I think about building characters because their weapons and their talents come available at certain days. And I know I talked about that in my building your account video, but I know not a lot of people think that way, so I just wanted to sort of reiterate it here. And I hope the general thought process behind team building and looking for potential characters that'll really help your account with this last account review helps you too. Also everyone, these account review submissions are coming in way faster than I can get to them. We're currently over 1,000 submissions, and unfortunately there's no way I can get to everyone in a timely manner. So if you can think of some ideas that would be really helpful for most people on what we should do for account reviews, please leave them in the comments below. I've been trying to toy around with a few ideas, but don't really have the best solution right now.